All right, good morning and welcome back to the second day back from spring break. So yesterday we started to talk about polygons. Today we're going to talk about a specific type of polygon. This is a parallelogram. Okay, now a parallelogram is going to be a four-sided polygon, and not just any quadrilateral. That's a four-sided figure, but something specific about it. So give me just a second. A four-sided polygon in which the opposite sides are parallel. So you might have guessed parallelogram, that's where it comes from. The opposite sides are parallel with one another. So if we draw a picture of that, and mine's not perfect, but we know I can put this arrowhead on there. That tells me, the arrowheads tell me they're parallel, meaning they have that same slope. They run beside each other with the same slope. Now the top and the bottom, they're not parallel to the sides, so I would have to put two arrowheads on those. But sometimes it'll just tell us they're a parallelogram, and then we can know that. Sometimes it might not tell us, but we'll see this. If both sets are parallel, then it's a parallelogram. You only have one set that's parallel, probably be something like a trapezoid then. But if both sets are parallel, it will look like this. So if the quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then we know a few properties. There's four things we know. First, we know opposite sides are congruent. Okay, so if QP here is 8, then RS on the other side is 8. Likewise, if QR was 12, then PS is 12. And these four rules you'll want to write down. So if you're taking notes by hand, you're going to need to write this down. Okay, the second property, if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then its opposite angles are congruent. Meaning if angle Q is 110, angle S is also 110. If angle P is 32, angle R would be 32. Now, those ones you could probably kind of see. This one might not be quite as obvious, but if quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then its consecutive angles are supplementary. Now, consecutive angles, think of that as one after the other, so like angle P and angle S here. Supplementary means they add up to 180. So if angle P is 30, angle S has to be 150. Angle P is 40, angle S would be 140. And finally, our last rule, if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then its diagonal bisect each other. So they bisect, meaning they cut each other into two equal parts. M is the middle of both QS and PR, meaning if PM was like 12, then we would know MR would be 12. We would know PR, the whole thing, we'd double that, okay? Likewise, if QM was 15, or let's do 18, then we know that the whole thing, QS would be 36, MS would be 18. Okay, so we look down here. It asks us to fill in some information. STUV is a parallelogram. Find the lengths for TU and WT. So TU is this side. It's pretty easy, hopefully. You'll see that's 12. WT is across the diagonal. That's going to be 14. And we're done. So some of these, if you're taking notes by hand, it might take longer to draw than to actually solve. You don't have to necessarily draw them all if you're following. For this one, FGHJ is a parallelogram. Find the lengths for JH and JK. So JH is a side. It's the same as the opposite side, so that'll be 5. JK is a diagonal. That'll be 3 because from K to G was also 3. Now here we're going to use our knowledge of angles. If JKLM is a parallelogram, then we need to find angle K and angle L. Angle K opposite will be the same, so that's 135. Angle L is just going to be 45 degrees. As we take, if you're not sure how I got that, 180 minus that 135 leaves us with 45. All right, this next one, find angle R and angle S. Opposite, remember, is the exact same, so that'll be 70. Once again, we take 180 minus that 70. We'll get 110. That will be what angle S is. Okay. Now, on the next set, Same thing, except now we got some algebra involved. Not much more difficult. Hopefully you remember these two, they're consecutive angles, so they add up to 180. So we're going to do 3x plus 120 equals 180. Subtract 120, we're left with 3x equals 60. We divide, we get x equals 20. Now your next one, you'll see those arcs are in there. They're also opposite, and it tells you it's a parallelogram, so you know they were the same even if those arcs weren't there. But I can just do 9x plus 2 equals 12x minus 34. From here, add 34 over. I'm going to do it all in one step, minus the 9x. We're going to get 36 equals 3x. Divide by 3, divide by 3, x equals 12. All right, letter C now. WXYZ is a parallelogram. Find x, the measure of angle x, and the measure of angle y. So first thing we can notice, hopefully, these opposite sides have to be the same. Just like what we just did, we can use that to solve for x. So we'll set it up. And if we add the 9 over, subtract the 3x over, 4x minus 3x is just x. 18 plus 9 gives us 27. So we already found the first one. X is 27. Now angle S, we can just plug it in right there. So 4 times that 27 minus 9. 4 times 27, 4 times 20 is 80. 4 times 7 is 28. Add that together, we get 108 minus 9. Oops, I don't need that, but we'll get 99 degrees. So that's angle X equals. And hopefully you can see angle X and angle Y, they would be consecutive, so they add up to 180. So we take 180 minus that 99. We get 81 degrees. That's what angle Y equals. And you could even say the measure of angle X and the measure of angle Y. All right, we're just about done. A few more. Find X and Y. So if we look here, on letter D, it doesn't matter which one we find first because opposite sides, I guess I forgot to say, sorry, this is bad. It should say this is a parallelogram. If it doesn't tell you that, technically we don't know, even though it looks like it is. Okay, and that also needs to apply to letter E. So if that was on both of those, now we can solve them. Okay, so I know opposites are the same, opposite sides are the same, so if 2y equals y plus 6, we subtract that y, we're going to get y to equal 6. Meanwhile, 3x plus 3 equals 2x plus 5. We subtract the 2x, subtract the 3, we will get x to equal 2. If you aren't sure, want to double check, plug in the 6. 2 times 6 is 12, 6 plus 6 is 12, we're good. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 5 is 9, so we're good. Now, letter E, a little bit more difficult. On this one, hopefully you can see right from the start, y has to be 6. Now, to find x, we have to be a little more creative. If this square is a right angle, those are vertical angles. We also know this is a right angle. If we have a right triangle, hopefully you guys remember from chapter 8, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And so that means we can use x squared plus 6 squared to equal 10 squared. So x squared will equal 64, which means x has to equal 8. And we're done. Okay, so let's combine all these rules. We got one final shape. We got a lot to figure out. Now, first off, that 50 degrees, I want to point out that arc goes there. That means the 50 is the whole arc. Likewise, 7x plus 4 is this whole arc. It's got 2 arcs because those two are not the same. And we know they would add up to 180. Okay, so what we can do is it says find angle GDE. So GDE up here, we know hopefully right from the start that's opposite of the other angle, so that's 50. And we're done with that one. Now EH right here, this is part of the diagonal, which is bisected, so that'll be 8. Pretty easy. Find Y. Y is along the bottom here, 6y minus 9. We know that's the same as this side, the 21. So we can just set those equal. Add the 9 over. Get 30 equals 6y. Divide by 6. We get y equals 5. Now we find the value of x here. And x is this angle, which we know has to add up with the 50 to get 180. So all we have to do now, we can do 7x plus 4 plus 50 equals 180. 7x plus 54 equals 180. 7x will equal 126. We divide by 7, we get x equals 18, and we are done. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Go ahead, go to It's Learning. There's a short assignment using these properties. Once again, if you didn't write them down, you probably want to write down these 4 properties. At least take a screenshot so you have them handy. Let me zoom out so you can get the definition there of a parallelogram. This is what you need. Okay, hope you guys have a great day. Pause it if you need to get those down in your notes, and I will talk to you guys later. Let me know if you need anything. Bye.